Tuna wageni watatu, Mheshimiwa Sebastian Kapufi mbunge, ambao ni wadau wa maendeleo kutoka Marekani. Wadau wa maendeleo kutoka Marekani, karibuni sana.
Container packed with supplies that need to make their way to families in Africa, like yesterday. You said this is a 53-foot trailer? This trailer is packed with medical supplies destined to the motherland. We need to help get these out of here.
Shalom, Salama, Siemi, Shalom. Greetings to all of my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether they be of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or they're Gentile grafted into the house. Welcome. This is Quest2 Night Africa Fridays. This is our discussion time as we discuss what's happening around the world. Particularly as it affects the continent, the diaspora, and beyond. Everything affects the continent, the African continent. Do not be mistaken about that. So I want to just take a few minutes because this is going to be a relatively shorter Quest Unite Africa discussions. It'll probably be short this week and next week. But I want to go over some things relatively quickly. Yeah, so sorry, family. I'm actually, I've been discussing with our Rwandan brothers and sisters on the continent this morning. So bear with me. Yes, my mornings, this is how it is on the Covenant Awakenings. I'm doing Q2UA work, getting things set up, sending some emails, and and that's good. This is good to be busy like this because I also understand that we are going through different growing points. And that growing points, I'm telling you, I thought we would never see even what we're seeing today at this time. And give me a second, family, because I have to get on script. This is the only broadcast that I do that is scripted. Today is Quest Unite Africa Friday, and this segment is dedicated to the mission of Quest Unite Africa, which is to build critical infrastructure and economic development on the continent for the benefit of Africa and its people. Bibbidi bibbidi. Oh man. So yeah, so we have our Invest in Africa seminar coming up on March 31st, Sunday, March 31st. And that's what we're doing this week. We're sitting down with our folks that are presenting, getting them, and with our events committee, getting the program taken care of, it ain't going to be janky. Not with the folks that we are bringing in. We don't do that. We make sure, look, things are dressed rehearsed. We make sure that the stage is set right. We make sure that our presenters are taken care of. We make sure that the internet services platforms, the applications are up and ready, and they're being QC'd, quality controlled, because we want to make sure that everybody that signs up is able to do the necessary collaborations and have the necessary collaborative tools to be able to have what they need to communicate. And we're going to make sure that those communication forms don't disrupt speaking engagements and things of that nature. So we're working on different elements and different functions like breakout rooms and things of that nature. This is an event for you all. That's what it is. To come together to see the opportunities that's on out there and to see the strategic oversights that's going on to ensure that we have the necessary avenues politically, economically, financially to get us to where we want to be. So join us for that Sunday. It will be amazing. We also have our weekly Sunday collaborations. You just hit it's not Teams. We're still working on getting that button taken care of. It's the Zoom's registration. We're on Zoom now. We're back on Zoom. Zoom's a little easier. You just sign up and then boom, there's your Zoom link. You hit your Wi-Fi audio to join and you're in there. Much more effective. And so with that, we are getting things taken care of on the continent. We are looking towards a very exciting activities that's getting ready to happen on the continent. We will have things nice and firmly established. This is what we're doing right now. We're getting things taken care of with personnel getting over to the continent uh, in a couple of weeks. And hitting that ground running, it's not just running, it's hitting that ground doing a full dead sprint. But it truly is amazing to see how the Most High has worked, how he's moved, how he has put this organization, his organization, in positions that we hadn't fathomed. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Isn't it awesome to see our Sister Shonda, getting ready to speak at a UN sponsored event? Representing Israelites, representing the seed, the children of Jacob, representing the children of Judah, those scattered to the four corners of this earth, with what the word has said and declared. And now look at what's going on. I'm excited. I'm sorry. I am excited. That that right there sends a shiver down my spine, because that to me, now now you know that no matter what and how things are portrayed, it's the Most High that does things. That's it. So all we do is just give him the glory and the honor and the praise, and we keep it moving. We move from the headaches, we move from the speed bumps, we move from the traps, the snares, the pits, everything. Everything that man tries to set on out. That's just how it goes. And now here we are at this particular time and space. I want us to take a look at this. I'm going to drop this link in the chat. This comes from Quick Times News. Man, my allergies are picking up today. Boy, oh boy. Give me a second, family. Hallelujah. Watery eyes yesterday, now, or watery nose, now itching eyes today. It's, hallelujah. Give me a second. I'm trying to present this. Here we go. Fair use. Russia and the DR.
Russian government approves draft agreement on military cooperation with DR.
Let me bring this on back. Let me bring this bike. I want you to see this.
When there's nothing holding you back,
Sorry.
what would your thing be?
Are you interested in starting your own faceless YouTube automation channel, but all people do is tell you to go to frickin' 5?
These aircraft. So these chiefs of armies came to look for themselves and to figure out a way to do a new offensive in another way of things and to make end of this aggression of Rwanda and M23 in the eastern DRC.
Russian government approves draft agreement on military cooperation with DRC. It provides for the organization of joint drills and exercises, participation in and monitoring drills at the invitation of relevant agencies, visits by warships and warplanes at an invitation or request, training of the military, and other formats of cooperation. Moscow, March 5th. TASS. Russia's government has approved a draft military cooperation agreement with the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, according to a relevant government resolution that was posted on the official portal of legal information. In conformity with Article 11 of the federal law on Russia's international agreements.
All right, I'm going to leave that here. I'm going to leave that there because there are a lot of things going on. Family, when we've been talking about things, especially on the Covenant Awakenings channel, understand what that means. Do y'all need me to play that again? Do y'all see what's happening? Did you all just hear what I just heard? Because let me explain this. I'm going to break this down as best as I can. Because now this is on Quest 2 Night Africa, and it's the 501c3s. I gotta keep it relevant and throw in a word from the sponsors every once in a while. Yeah, let me pray this again so you all understand this. Let me get this. Let me get this. Here we go. I'll play it a little ways back, so just so y'all can see the albino brother, because we come in all shapes and sizes, even deep in the Congo. Here we go.
That it was in order to see on field and talk to their men to see how they will coordinate the real offensive against M23, because now M23 is so stronger as they have the Rwandan support and they have weapons which can destroy even Congolese aircraft. So these chiefs of armies came to look for themselves and to figure out a way to do a new offensive in another way of things, and to make end of this aggression of Rwanda and M23 in the eastern DRC.
Russian government approves draft agreement on military cooperation with DRC. It provides for the organization of joint drills and exercises, participation in and monitoring drills at the invitation of relevant agencies, visits by warships and warplanes at an invitation or request, training of the military, and other formats of cooperation. Moscow, March 5th. TASS. Russia's government has approved a draft military cooperation agreement with the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, according to a relevant government resolution that was posted on the official portal of legal information. In conformity with Article 11 of the federal law on Russia's international agreements, to approve the draft agreement on military cooperation with the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which was submitted by the Russian Defense Ministry upon coordination with the Russian Foreign Ministry and other federal executive bodies concerned. The document says. The agreement is also available on the portal. Thus, it provides for the organization of joint drills and exercises, participation in and monitoring drills at the invitation of relevant agencies, visits by warships and warplanes at an invitation or request, training of the military and other formats of cooperation.
Training by the ministry or other formats of cooperation. Let me give you the actual verbiage of that. I know it sounded all high level and, very sophisticated and things of that nature, but let me tell you what's going on. What's going on is Russia is now in the Congo. Russia's kicking out the West, out of the continent. The West is getting kicked out. All at a time where, they want to say Russia's losing the war in Ukraine and yada, yada, yada. You have to understand that war in Ukraine affects the global order of white supremacy. Not everybody that was quote unquote white got down with white supremacy. Just didn't happen. So now that ideation is now being challenged by one of the West's big proponents, Russia. And look at what's going on the continent. Do you think that these folks don't see what's happening? They absolutely see what's happening. They're panicking. They're nervous. They are scared. What does that mean if you have a nation that is able to govern itself and able to produce financial resources, that the people aren't starving, that you have safety and security? Well, if you have less resources for one people and you have more resources for the other people, well, there's going to be a parity of discrepancies. You get less and they get more because they keep more. While you get less, well, the person that gets less is going to be destabilized. That's what's happening in the West. It's happening here. It's happening as we speak. This is why you have to have these speeches that show, oh, we are this and we're that, and you got to bolster everything. Because why? Because things are starting to look dramatically worse day in and day out. A war isn't just based off of bombs. It's based off of finances and economics. So now here we are. You saw that last year with Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso. You're seeing this all around the continent, that folks want to control their own resources. A couple years ago, we would have said that's not going to happen. I doubt that's going to happen. I don't think that that's going to happen because why? They were very, very highly entrenched, highly engrossed in the West. I told you what was happening, family, way before Quest Unite Africa got started. I said they're looking at what the West is doing in that proxy war in Ukraine with Russia fighting basically the Western banked Ukrainian faction, and this portends destruction for the West. Why do you think they're trying to save themselves? Well, we need to hurry up and we got to prop back up Ukraine. We got to do this, we got to do that. Because the more that they have done and they've shown failing results, the more these other nations are saying, you want to know what? It's time to shift to these folks. And historically speaking, these folks have always been helpful towards us. These folks have always allowed for us to keep our minerals and have traded fairly. Have you heard any story? I just let me know. Give me a one or two in the chat. Have you heard any story where the Russians were buying minerals from these nations way below market value like France? Can someone comment in the chat? I'd like to know. Because the only thing that I read is when there's interactions with Russians on the ground in Africa is, oh well, they're talking about communism, and it's like, so what's been happening since the '90s when communism was eradicated, and they still have been dealing fairly with the folks on the continent? I'd like to know what's the excuse, what is being said. Because you got to remember the propaganda stories, man, they hit hard. And when you go to war, guess what you start to do when you go to war? You start to destroy propaganda stories. And guess what? Now the lies of the West start to get exposed even more and more. Their lies are being exposed. And now you see countries coming out and they're saying, hey, look, these destabilization efforts, we can't give it play anymore. So guess what? So now, have you started to understand? Now the dominoes are falling. Yes, it took a little bit to get the dominoes to fall, but they're falling nonetheless. They're falling nonetheless. Let's take a look. It's from African News. South Africa says force should be used to break Israel blockade on Gaza aid. South Africa says force should be used to break Israel blockade on Gaza aid. I had to get my little mic grunt on in there. Boy, I tell you, I'm representing my.
Dynatrace simplifies cloud complexity with deep observability, intelligence and automation, and application security.
While that's going. But now we're here. This is where we're at. Give me a second. Go ahead and get this started. Here we go.
International Relations said Tuesday that countries should use force to break Israel's blockade on aid getting into Gaza.
Those powerful armed forces of the world should be instructed by their presidents or prime ministers that they will go to the Rafah border and their soldiers will escort all those trucks into Gaza and the West Bank. And since these are very close friends of Israel, surely they will be allowed safe passage. I can't imagine them being fired upon by the Israeli forces.
The Lady Pandor was meeting with his Danish counterpart in Pretoria. The two leaders discussed bilateral ties and Israel's war on Gaza.
We share the opinion that we are facing a humanitarian disaster and a very catastrophic situation in Gaza. So,
all right, I had to stop right there. I put that on in there. You know, it's a fret. You know, it's a concern that you have to now, as a European nation, you now have to give up that semblance of the theological order. I got to trade with South Africa. I'm in South Africa. I got to get the resources. And now this is the first time in over 600, 700, 800 years, maybe, that now they have to do things outside of their own interest. Look at how this goes. Did we ever think that we would be sitting in this position just watching this? Watching the change of power happening in front of our eyes, in front of our very own faces? He's not comfortable with saying this. But he knows it's reality. Now they're getting called out. Well, sorry. And see, you had to understand, these are the key components. We spoke about this earlier on the Covenant Awakenings channel. Judicial, legislation, and then executive to execute and prosecute. That came quick. That came quick, family. In less than 90 days. I told you we're going to be here very, very quickly. In less than 90 days. Oh, it's a humanitarian crisis. We know it's a humanitarian crisis. Well, we got to do something about it. Yeah. We got to do something about it. What do we do about it? You better do something, or else you're not going to get these resources. The trap has been laid for them, and they fell right in their own trap. See, when there's one thing to listen to someone tell you that you don't have power. And then there's another thing to understand when you realize that you are powerful and not having anyone make you powerless ever again. Their powers are falling. And they had a time to concoct the invention, which is what it was. It was an invention. It was a framework. Of how to make you feel powerless, even though you're very powerful. How you're able to cede your power. And I had to learn that lesson myself. Even at Question Night Africa. We were just discussing this yesterday with Walt. See, when the Most High has given you what you need and then some, don't be throwing away your power that the Most High has given you. See, for so long, we did that as a nation. We did that as a people. And that's how we got ripped from our lands into the four corners of this earth. That's not a biblical thing. That's not a biblical thing. That's a reality thing. Because we are in the four corners of this earth. Whether we went there by our own volition or we went there because we were brought in chains or some other fetters. And it just so happens that that just fulfilled all the pieces of scripture that's in that Bible. So, family, are we seeing the start of the global war? Absolutely. Absolutely. It had to come. We were saying this. They're losing their resources. And as noted, someone had said that in the chat. placating will begin because they'll need to have us fight. I haven't even paid attention to any State of the Union addresses, probably like 6, 7 years. So I just think, family, look at look how things are moving. Think it not strange. No, I don't think it's strange. I just think that it's very, very, it's interesting. Their global order of what they tried to have in terms of global disorder is now coming to an end. They had their run. And they know it's getting ready to end soon. They know it's getting ready to end. Could it end this year? Probably. Could it end in 3 or 4 years? Yeah, definitely. 5 years? They know that it's highly unlikely. But they see it. They see their framework has fallen apart. Their sacred cows are not so sacred anymore. For real. That's just how it goes. You're going to question them about their bloodline? Well, yeah, they even say it themselves. Yeah, but don't. Well, I don't want you thinking like that. Thinking like what? That is their argument. Say something that I'm saying out of context. Say something. Let me know if I'm out of context. Let me know if that's not how that goes. If I can't beat you on the argument, then I tell you to not think like that. What, to not think analytically, to not be deductive, to not have a rational understanding of all the information that's provided, to think like an animal. Well, we said you're an animal, so you need to think like an animal. Just do as we say. Sorry. In case you didn't get the memo, I think our drapetomania has kicked in well beyond this point because we're looking at everything and we're seeing everything and we're asking questions of everything. It's just how it goes. Well, I just need you to just blindly believe me. Just please believe me. Please go to Disney World so you can believe. Please go to the movies and so you can be enchanted. Believe, believe, believe. World of pure imagination. Look, y'all used to laugh with Willy Wonka. Now you know it's true. And now no one around the world believes their lies. They lost their position. They lost their position as being the quote unquote authoritative voice. Sorry, we don't trust you anymore. We don't believe you anymore. I think what you're saying, you're lying to me. It's not a lie. You just need to believe me. Well, what about this? What about that? And what about this? Oh, it's not what I meant. What I mean, right? The old caught in the lies, caught in their own trap virgins. What I meant was, how I wanted to rephrase it as, can I do a start over? Let's just scrap everything that I said because I want to re-say it again in just a different format because I know that what I sounded like sounded terrible. Say what you mean and mean what you say, man. I've never seen so much backtracking. I've never seen so much backtracking. Oh, well, that didn't work. Well, wait a minute. Wait. What about that? We fired this person because they didn't really message it right. How did you want it to message? We meant it like this. That still sounds terrible. Well, wait a second. All right, so I fired that person, and now we're going to message it right. Well, now we're going to message like this. That still sounds horrible. And now you got people in Denmark, still part of the EU. You're destroying the fabric of white supremacy before my eyes. Yeah. That's what we see happening. And they tried. They tried hard. Give them an A for effort. Man, they were trying hard. You don't believe this? Try that. You don't believe that? Try this. And all we're saying is, listen, we know what's getting ready to come to a head. What do you think happens when their lies can't be sustained? We know what happens. We know what happens when their lies cannot be sustained. That's why it wasn't a question of if they would go to war. It was no ifs. It was not a question of ifs. It was always a question of when. My other question was going to be, how long will it take to get there? Because if it's when, yeah, how long is that going to take? Oh, it's going to be, remember, listen, you understand how just past the stage of foolishness we have been? Remember at the beginning of this year, literally less than 60 days ago. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. Oh, well, we'll be probably at war in the next 20 years. Oh, we'll be at war probably in the next 5 years. Oh, we'll be at war probably in around 2 years. Oh, we'll probably be at war in less than 90 days. Do you realize that their 20-year timeline got shrunk down to like 2 weeks and less than 60 days? Can't make it up. Can't make it up. We have it on video. Why? Listen, in the scriptures, it says that they're liars and that they do lie. That's what the word says. We just read that in Isaiah chapter 30 yesterday. And now that's their shame. Now you see their shame unfolding in front of them. You can tell this man wasn't comfortable talking about Gaza and Israel. We're losing our image factor on the world scene. We're losing. Yes, family. Here we are in this time. I told you, I said everything's going to be shortening down. The live streams on Covenant Awakenings and probably even these Q2A discussions. Because now everything is being exposed. And you have to understand how the model goes. When things start to get way too exposed, guess what happens? You got to go to war. You just got to. That's why the EU is going to rush to war, because that's their expression on their faces. Thank you, 1619 Brood. Yes, they have to go to war, but they will be looking for us to help them. Trust me. Come on, man. This is your land. Don't you want to fight? Yeah, that reparations check is no less than $30 million. Yeah. $30 million. How are we going to do all that? The same way you do the things for them illegals. Oh, that's different. Tell me how. Their logic bombs have bombed them into oblivion. They bombed literally their own self into oblivion. Their wisdom and their knowledge has been lost. And now you see the facade of the wisdom, the facade of the wise crumble in front of their faces. And now they look like the biggest fools in the world. Don't think that he's not the only one that looks like this behind the scenes. They all look like this behind the scenes. How are we losing on BRICS? How are we losing on the continent? How are we losing in Ukraine? I thought they said all we did is win, win, win no matter what, right? No, y'all are losing. In the words of Trump, he can't mess with losers. I'm not a loser. I'm a winner. And I win all day. And now they see Trump's about to get into office, and that dude is fighting lawsuits left and right. We're about to even lose the United States. No, no, no. Your loss is our gain because we're winners. All we do is win. Oh, man. And yes, they do have more faith in Trump than white Jesus. It is pretty sad. But that's where we're at, family. And we're building stronger relationships on the continent for that. Thank you, Babylon, for having us run back, sprint back into the arms of our family, and for our family sprinting back into our arms. Thank you, Babylon, for helping our family reunion. Thank you, Babylon, for the derision and the division and the confusion that was taking place to separate our families. It is now being used to bring us back together. The instrument of our demise was also the instrument of our correction, because we couldn't just go on being destroyed the whole time. That's why the Most High had to bring us under this rod, because we finally got up and we finally realized who we were, and we finally said, no, you cannot have our power anymore. Yes, Eric Tinsley. Trump will be dancing like he's doing. He's on the remake. He's on the remake of Ain't Nothing But a Gangsta Party with Snoop Dogg and Tupac. They're going to have a digital AI of them, and he's going to be up in there dancing. Let me not give the Trump campaign any ideas. This is historical with 90% of the black vote. Brought to you by Death Row Campaigns. In association with MWA, MAGA with attitudes. Yeah, I think it's America's Most Wanted. Yeah, Ninja Firewall. Ain't nothing but a tea thing, baby. Oh my goodness. They call it the dog pound. He's going to call it the J6 crew. So, so come on up. So what's up? You want to get these J6 gold Jordans? You need to cop them right now. Signed by Michael himself. That's my son Mike, that is. But we were winning. But we're winning. Dr. Dre's gonna be like, I didn't give you permission to use my song. Don't you want to be a winner, or do you want to stay with them losers? Don't worry, Snoop. When we get in office, I'm gonna have Snoop's Law. Snoop's Law. It'll be great. We're gonna reduce minimums and federal and everything else, and it'll be great. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Who needs Africa when we have our African Americans? Shout out to our African Americans. I can't even hold my laugh on that one. We still control Africa because we have our African Americans. Oh Lord. That's how he pronounces African Americans. African Americans. Aren't they great? Aren't they great? I kind of knew Trump's speech or Biden's speech was going to be a fiasco. I didn't even want to watch it. That dude can't talk. You know, when you're a kid and you go to see your grandparents living in an old folks home, and then that old person, you know, you have that classification of over 70, 80 years old, you know, coming out with that walker because they hear something out in the hall, and then they try to talk to you. You know, they actually sound like that what they're saying is, you know, coherent. And they've lost that ability a while ago. But because they have their family members that know their mannerisms of, you know, their grandfather or their dad or their brother or their uncle, they try to, you know, act like their coherency is still intact, even though there's still trouble speaking. And that's what I get with Joe Biden. I'm like, all right. It's like the grandfather that they know really can't speak very well, and they have to do a double take, and because you know it's America's strong, and we can't let Trump because America's strong. All I could think is, man, that is just some messed up elder abuse. You know, here in the state of Florida, they use that as a real crime. Why are you going to do it to your grandpop like that? Do I need to call Department of Children and Family Services? Why'd you make your dad run? Listen, I ain't trying to go to jail. Oh, man. Man, oh, man, oh, man. I just think that that's ignorance at its finest. Ignorance at its finest. At least with this decline, at least we get a chance to see a show. I don't know about you all, but this is funny. Maybe that's what it was intended to do. Because if you love this place, you're either going to cry or die laughing. But in the words of Trump, I got to get rich or have somebody else die trying. For me. Yeah, I'll stop. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I had to go old school 50 Cent on that one. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this on up. This is the call to action. Join us this Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can do the Teams. It's really Zoom, but it's the button says Teams. We're correcting that. Give us a while, or give us a little bit. Go there. You can sign on up. You get your Zoom link, and we go a little bit more in depth of what's going on, how we're doing things, how we're moving things. Your support helps us to continue our economic development initiatives on the continent. Guess what, family? They really want to do the work with us. So when I'm telling you that before this, emailing Rwanda, getting in touch with folks in Zambia, family, let me tell you, there are 54 continents in the emails. I said, oh, man. Hallelujah. In order to do this, we ask for your support. We don't ask for his support that's over there in Denmark because, he's crying. So if the Europeans are crying, we ain't going to get no support from them. Stop. We are losing Africa. We have so many battles and conflicts. Oh, we didn't even talk about the one ship that got hit by Houthi attacks. The hit by the Houthi attacks, that one ship got it. It says shot in the back. Says true confidence struck by Houthi, ship on fire. I'm telling you, you don't want to, what is it, General Sayaya, whatever? He was putting some Houthi bass in his voice. He was letting y'all know. It's not me, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. He put it in his voice. And then the ship got struck a couple hours later. Mess around and find out. So what do you think that does? What do you think that's going to do to the rest of this economy? It's not going to be any feel goods on that one. They're in trouble. They're in trouble like dollar bill. Trouble, 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 trouble. That type of trouble. Big worm gonna get them type of trouble. Oh, hallelujah. All right. Well, family, yes, thank you for your support. You can do so at going on quest2uniteafrica.org. That's quest2uniteafrica.org. Again, for those that may have any type of cash apps, contributions, or PayPals that are on out there, those are no longer valid. Everything goes through quest2uniteafrica.org. Please visit us if you would like to have your contributions actually go into the organization. That's how you do it. So, family, with that said, I'm checking my notes here, make sure. Please like, subscribe, and share our Quest to Unite Africa YouTube page. We're building that up. We're trying our hardest to get that built up, but we can only build it up with your help. And all that takes is just a like, a share, and a subscribe, and hit the notification bells. That's it. Those are some simple things to help. Again, we thank you for all the help building here at Quest to Unite Africa. For real, we can't do this without you. We thank the Most High that He puts it on your hearts to give. It's not a one-man show. It's not a two-man show. It's not a couple of people. This is an organization that's stretching from here to the continent. And it's truly awesome to see the work that the Most High does day in and day out. So with that said, family, on Monday, I'll be back on Covenant Awakenings. You know, some stuff is going to go down between now and Monday. You just know it. So with that, families, be safe, stay safe. Pray for yourselves. Pray for one another. Ask the Most High to keep you and guide you and lead you in all paths. So with that said, family, I got to get up on out of here. And you all have a blessed weekend. You all have a blessed Shabbat. And with that said, family, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom, peace and blessings, all of Yasharel.
Tuna wageni watatu, Mheshimiwa Sebastian Kapufi mbunge, ambao ni wadau wa maendeleo kutoka Marekani. Wadau wa maendeleo kutoka Marekani, karibuni sana.
Are you tired of fighting with your wife or with your husband? Have you each retreated into your separate corners, not even trying to speak to each other anymore? Are your children witnessing a toxic marriage rather than a purposeful partnership? Hi, I am Shar, and I am an attorney mediator and experienced in helping families for the past 13 years navigate really challenging times. And I am here to help you. Husbands, hear your wives. Wives, hear your husbands. So together we can find the truth why your family is struggling and what it will take to get unstuck from cycles of misunderstanding and patterns of frustration. Join me live on YouTube on this Monday night at 6:00 p.m. Eastern as I conduct a live mediation. And if you would like to be heard, if you would like to hash out a misunderstanding with your spouse here on our live, sign up now to apply for your free opportunity to mediate. And I look forward to seeing you Monday night. Container packed with supplies that need to make their way to families in Africa like yesterday. You said this is a 53-foot trailer? This trailer is packed with medical supplies destined to the motherland. We need to help get these out of here.